Come and speak to you today because of my background in the desert of deconstruction. But first, I must tell you a little bit about my earlier life. You see, my family was probably what you'd call an average family. Me and my sister and my mother and father. And I grew up and went to church and got to know the pastor. But then one morning, I woke up and my mother wasn't around, and I went and looked for her. And I found her on the floor with a needle stuck in her arm. And that was the first time I realized that my mother did drugs. Well, I didn't know quite what to think of that. And when the rest of my family found out, it was a changing time in my life. My sister went crazy, and my father, he drank a lot. But I did have my pastor, and so I would go to him and talk to him and tell him everything that was going on. And he assured me that I had a friend in Jesus, and that if I did as I was told to do, that I could be sure Jesus would take care of me. Back home, my sister disappeared, and basically my father did too. Very seldom did I ever see him without a bottle. So I realized it didn't hold much for me, and I was feeling lost. So I went deeper and deeper into the church and found friends who took care of me and told me I'd be okay. And all I had to do was just listen and follow. Read the Bible, know that it was my authority now, and that I could trust God. And so I did. I gave my life to Jesus. Well, just to give you an idea of what the church was like, I'll sing you a song. I heard an old story, how my Savior came from glory, how he gave his life on Calvary to save a wretch like me. I heard about his groaning and his precious blood's atoning, and I repented of my sins and won the victory. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and he bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and all my love is due him. He plunged me to victory beneath the cleansing flood. So I felt like I had everything I needed. And then because my pastor was involved in politics, he introduced me into the Democratic Party. And I felt again right at home. Everybody welcomed me, and all I had to do was listen and follow. And this went on for quite a while. And then about the time of the national elections, things started changing for me. It was like what I was hearing from my pastor and what I was seeing weren't matching up for me. I started in myself wondering what was wrong with me, because everybody else seemed to be okay until I started making contacts with others from other churches and other parts involved in politics. And I didn't hear the same thing from them. As a matter of fact, I began to hear a lot of things that were contrary to what I had been told to be true. And I don't know what it was about me, but I began to wonder, what's going on? Because I heard my God was a jealous God and could have no other gods before him. And then I heard with regard to politics that there was only one way and the other party was completely wrong. And it caused doubt in my mind. So then, to bring this to you back into the desert of deconstruction, it was very challenging and it was unsettling, because I found myself questioning when I wasn't sure if I was supposed to question or if I were allowed to question. And it was about the deeply held beliefs that I had been told were true. And it was both religious and then so far as politics was concerned. So all of that was familiar and comforting, I began stepping away into the unknown. And it did lead me to spiritual and intellectual disorientation. While I didn't realize it at the time, it was a period of great personal growth and transformation, because all I could feel was how lonely I was. I tried to talk to others, but they didn't understand me, and as a matter of fact, they told me I was wrong and I should get back into the church and forget all that nonsense. But still, there was something sowed inside me that I could not dismiss. So I kept looking, reading, studying, considering about what other thoughts, what other beliefs, whatever awarenesses were around. So, needless to say, this uncharted territory began to give me opportunity to explore other considerations and the possibility of developing new beliefs and perspectives. So even, my social groups, I couldn't carry on conversations with them anymore. We didn't talk the same language. So I just found myself moving away and away. And yet I realized this had been a really strong support for me. And then I thought, okay, it's because I chose to believe how they believed. And when I did, they accepted me. And when I didn't, they rejected me. So, the challenges, yes, they were there. But this period became a time of profound learning and personal transformation. And it brought in new ideas and new experiences. So yes, the journey ultimately led me to the creation of a new personal framework for looking at and understanding the world, often with a newfound appreciation for the diversity of thought and experiences that I was having, because it wasn't just my way and only my way. So, Faith destruction is nothing more or less than finding out for myself what's true. At some point, I've come to understand that the hand-me-down religion just wouldn't work anymore. I couldn't continue to rely on external authority figures like my parents, my pastor, or other external sources like a sacred text, because I was taught the Bible was it. That was the only way. And as I studied more and saw how it began and how it was formed, I saw that's not true. That's not true at all. As a matter of fact, I read into it and saw where it contradicted itself so many times. And I thought, okay, I got to let that go. So there was only one path left for me, and that was to go inside, to find out and then to know for myself the deep inner wisdom that I was seeking was revealed through my seeking and through my own lived experiences. So another part of it was politics. I didn't find a whole lot of truth in that, so I just said, hell with it. And if my pastor had heard that, he'd have thought for sure I'd gone to hell. So I left them both behind. And in that I began to find myself and find a new way. And one of the things that I discovered was a significant part of this spiritual awakening was the reshaping of my own concept of God. The God in the Bible, the God that was preached, no longer was my God. I began to look around me and see, this is God in manifestation. This beautiful world that I live in. And I began to look at people and see, just like me, except there's a difference. I'm finding my own mind. So I thank you for allowing me to come forward and talk to you today. I know it won't cover all of you, but it was crucial to understand that the questioning and the deconstructing of my religious beliefs wasn't anything to fear. It was actually a part of my vital growth. So thank you for allowing me to be here with you.